What's up everybody, today we are going to be looking at 6 underrated PlayStation 2 games that, in my opinion, deserve a lot more love. Of course, the PlayStation 2 has a lot of games and a lot of them are also underrated. These are just 6 that I wanted to talk about in no particular order. Let's get into it. So, the first game I want to talk about is Bloody Roar 3. If you've never played the Bloody Roar series, then you really did miss out on one of the most unique fighting games on the PlayStation 2. On the surface, it looks like a really typical 3D fighter with fast-paced combat, flashy combos, and the kind of classical arcade style. But what made this game stand out was its beast transformation system. Each character can transform into a powerful animal form mid-fight. You can turn into a tiger, a wolf, a bat, a mole, even a chameleon. It was really unique, and the transformation wasn't just for looks, but it actually gave you like a whole new move set with extra damage and a chance just to completely turn the fight around. It was really awesome. I've played Bloody Roar 1, 2 and 3, but number 3 does have a soft spot in my heart because I played it the most in the entire series, and the transformation's really cool, the music was fun, the gameplay is really fun, the combat is just really, it feels good. Each character feels really different from the next. The combat system was easy to learn but deep enough for skilled players to kind of experiment with different things. But I really like the characters in this game. The roster is just full of personality, and I'm sure you'll find a character that you'll just really like and have a blast playing through this game. The transformation animations and the sound design just made every fight feel intense and cinematic, even on the early PlayStation 2 hardware. This game came out December 2000, which is really crazy because this game just looks great. But it's just one of those games that never quite got the recognition it deserved, mostly overshadowed by Tekken and Soul Calibur, but if you love fighting games with a creative twist, Bloody Roar 3 is a wild ride worth checking out. CEX are selling this game for £15, but I'm sure you can find it cheaper elsewhere. But I would really love to see this game series make a comeback, but yeah, definitely worth checking out Bloody Roar 3. Next up, this one is a real hidden gem, and that's From Russia with Love. This was EA's take on classic Bond, and it's one of the coolest movie-based games from that era. Of course, we all know GoldenEye 007 is the best James Bond game of all time. But this game does deserve some credit. You're playing as Sean Connery's James Bond, and with his voice and everything. And I'll be the first to say, I like James Bond. I've seen all of the Daniel Craig movies. I don't know too much about the lore of James Bond, but I can appreciate this game for what it is. I know how highly regarded the Sean Connery James Bond movies are, but this game really does those movies justice, from the music to the gadgets. You have jetpacks, classic cars, and spy gadgets straight out of the movies. The missions are mixed with third-person shooting with driving and stealth levels, giving it that nice variety of different level types. It wasn't groundbreaking by any means, but the gameplay, when you're in third-person mode, it really feels like a Gears of War game, like before Gears of War. It really captures that smooth, confident, spy, gadget-packed dude that we all like. This game for £3 is an absolute steal. It is awesome. Definitely worth checking out.
Who are you?
The name is Bond. James Bond.
Now here's a PlayStation 2 gem that nowhere near enough people talk about, and that is iNinja. iNinja might look like a light-hearted cartoon platformer at first, but it's actually one of the most underrated action-packed games of this generation. Packed with energy, humour, and surprisingly tight gameplay, you play as, well, Ninja. A tiny, cocky, and ridiculously skilled warrior with a short temper. The story starts out quite silly. Ninja accidentally kills his master in a rage and then sets out to redeem himself by fighting the evil Rank's army and collect those powerful rage stones. It just all sounds really goofy, but that's the kind of charm that this game provides. The game never takes itself too seriously, and it's full of snarky humour and self-aware moments. Gameplay-wise, iNinja absolutely nails the control. It's perfect, a balance of smooth platforming and fast-paced combat. It's kind of like if Ratchet & Clank and Prince of Persia had a baby. You can wall run, you can grind on rails, throw shurikens, deflect rockets, and just pull off all those crazy combos. Each level introduces new mechanics, so the game never feels too repetitive. One minute you're slicing through robots, the next you're controlling a giant robot and fighting enemies. It's wild. The bosses are huge, pretty creative, but really funny and fun. You have to think a little bit when you're fighting the bosses. The game isn't too difficult, but you definitely have to have your brain switched on at certain moments of the game, for sure. I don't really think you can get away with just button mashing your way through the entire game, but the music, the sound effects, just gave everything that Saturday morning cartoon energy, which just makes the game really more memorable. It's really sad to see that iNinja didn't become a big franchise. I think it had everything great going for it. If you missed this one back in the day, it's absolutely worth tracking down and finding. CEX sell it for only £8. It's definitely one of the most fun, creative PlayStation 2 games that I've played in a long time. So if you're into platformers for £8, this game is absolutely worth your attention. Next up, the year is 2005 and Star Wars has everyone in a chokehold. Revenge of the Sith was about to be released in cinemas, and it was actually the first film I remember watching in cinemas and was just blown away by it. I still love Star Wars, I still love Revenge of the Sith. It's actually my favourite Star Wars movie. And in my opinion, 2005 was the year that Star Wars peaked. You had Revenge of the Sith, you had Republic Commando, you had Lego games coming out, and of course you had Star Wars Battlefront 2. Now of course, we all know these games, we all know that they're absolutely amazing, but there's one game that you may not know about, and that is the movie tie-in game, Revenge of the Sith. Movie tie-in games have a really rough reputation, but Revenge of the Sith on the PlayStation 2 was a serious exception. This game lets you play through the movie with the fully playable lightsaber combat that just feels amazing for its time. You can play as both Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi, switching between their stories as the game follows the movie's plot. But the cool part is how it went beyond the films. It added extra missions, extended duels, deeper character moments that really gave you more context around their fall and rivalry. What really stood out to me was the combat system. The lightsaber fighting was fast, fluid, and surprisingly skill-based for the time. You could block, you can counterattack, you can throw your lightsaber, use the force, fling enemies across the map, and just chain everything together into these smooth combos. It felt powerful, like you were actually wielding a lightsaber and not just mashing buttons. Each character had their own moveset, so if you was playing as Anakin, you fought more aggressively, relying on raw power and the dark side attacks, whilst if you're Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're more controlled and more defensive. You could upgrade their abilities between missions, unlocking new combos and force powers, and that just made each playthrough more satisfying. The environments were straight from the movie, so you had the burning halls of Mustafar to the Jedi Temple, and the cinematic camera angles made every duel feel like a scene straight out of Star Wars. And then there's the best part, which is the alternative ending. I love it. It's worth checking out on YouTube if you don't even know about it. It is absolutely worth a watch if you're a Star Wars fan. It's really cool to see like a game take liberties and really add things that really mix up the game, like the alternative ending. You will never catch Disney ever doing anything like this because they refuse to let people have fun with Star Wars, unfortunately. But on top of all that, this game has a 2-player versus mode, which is basically every kid's dream. You could put Anakin against Yoda or Count Dooku or any combination of Jedi and Sith in one-on-one duels. It was really simple but insanely fun. So yeah, Revenge of the Sith might be tied to a movie, a great movie at that, but it's absolutely worth checking out. For £3, what more could you want?
I show you the true power of the dark side.
Next up, if you grew up watching monster movies like I did, then you will love this game, Godzilla Save the Earth. Released in 2004, this wasn't just some button-mashing fighter, it was basically a full-on kaiju simulator. There's a huge roster of monsters from across the Godzilla universe, like Godzilla 2000, Mechagodzilla, Mothra, and so on and so forth. Each one has their own moveset, special attack, and finishing move that just match perfectly with their personalities from the movies. It's really cool to see that the game really captures that classic monster movie energy. The arenas are full of destructible cities like Tokyo and San Francisco. And everything you do just causes destruction. You can pick up buildings, throw them at your enemies, or just stomp them into dust. Tanks and jets would just buzz around you and try to take you down, but you just don't even bat an eyelid to them. It's pretty funny. Each monster has a unique beam attack, like Godzilla has this atomic breath that can just blast enemies from across the map. And if you were good with timing, you could catch oncoming projectiles, block beams with your own attack. It was a surprisingly strategic underneath all the destruction that's going on. The story mode is really simple. Aliens try to take over Earth, and that's all you really need to know. Honestly, no one really cares about the plot. You're just there to kind of wreck stuff, and it's just delivered perfectly in that. The local multiplayer, though, that was where the game really shined. Up to 4 players could just battle it out in full-on monster brawls, and it's just pure mayhem. There was even fun little mini games. Like, I remember there was like you have to destroy the city in a short amount of time. Whoever destroys the most buildings wins. And for 2004, this game looks great. The monster designs had tons of detail, the destruction effects were satisfying, and the sound designs were just those iconic Godzilla roars, the explosions, the crashing buildings. And when I started playing this game, I could not believe like the amount of different characters and different fighters that there were. So I remember as a kid, I was fascinated with Godzilla, and I wanted to know all about these different characters that I didn't even know existed. It's one of those PlayStation 2 games that never really got the recognition it deserved. It's a niche fighter for sure, but it is a very fun game. If you love monster movies, if you love destroying cities, absolutely worth checking this game out. For £12, this game is awesome. And last but not least, staying on the theme of giant monsters, I want to talk about Peter Jackson's King Kong, the official game of the movie. I remember going to the cinema to watch this movie 3 times and I loved it each time. And it really surprised me that I only found this out recently. I didn't even think about it, to be honest. But Peter Jackson did this movie whilst doing the original Lord of the Rings trilogy, all at the same time. Crazy. I don't know how he did it. But on top of those masterpiece movies, he released this surprise masterpiece. I'm sure most people expected another rushed movie tie-in game, but King Kong on the PlayStation 2 delivered something much deeper. It was a cinematic, immersive adventure that really made you feel like you were on Skull Island. What makes it unique is that you get to play as both Jack and King Kong. When you're Jack, you experience tense first-person survival sections, sneaking through dense jungles, facing giant insects and dodging dangerous dinosaurs. Ammo was really scarce, so every encounter felt really risky. And then the game would just completely shift into this third-person, over-the-top combat playing as King Kong. Having full-on scraps of massive dinosaurs, smashing enemies and climbing huge cliffs, this switch in perspective really kept the gameplay exciting and really unpredictable. The game totally nails the atmosphere and the feeling that you are actually trapped on Skull Island. It didn't feel like this really boring, static map. It felt alive, it felt dangerous, and it was huge. The sound design really helped sell that scale, with King Kong's roars echoing through the jungle and the growls of dinosaurs and the environmental hazards that make every step feel really intense. The boss fights were cinematic and pretty intense, and Jack's sequences weren't just filler, they were really good moments of the game, genuinely nerve-wracking, and gave the game pacing that felt like a proper movie. On top of that, the cinematic presentation was incredible for a PlayStation 2 game. There was no HUD that really cluttered the screen. Cutscenes blended seamlessly with the gameplay, making it feel like you were actually watching the movie at times. The developers clearly cared about the experience, and it shows. This is one of those PlayStation 2 games that really pushed the boundaries of what a PlayStation 2 can do. It combines action, a great storytelling, and a great atmosphere all in one package, and you can get this game for £2. Amazing deal, and it's on multiple platforms, so it's absolutely worth checking out. In my opinion, it's one of the best movie tie-in games. So yeah, these are 6 PlayStation 2 games that I think deserve a lot more love. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Have you got any games that you think would be worth mentioning on this list? Let me know down in the comment section below. Thank you for watching, have a great day, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.